golems are unable to fit inside of minecarts, but in Bedrock, they can for some reason get in. Did you know in Java Edition the sun and moon are always there at the same time? So even when it is nighttime, you can actually see the sun in the void or vice versa. However, in Bedrock Edition, the sun and moon actually disappear after a period of time after sunset and sunrise respectively. Did you know riding pigs in Bedrock Edition is different? When you ride one, there's more of a delay in turns. The pig doesn't look up and down with the player, and the pig has to jump to get on blocks instead of just stepping up. In Java, the pig is a lot more reactive. It looks up and down with the player, and the pig can step up blocks easily. The Java pig is so much better. Light blocks are very different in Bedrock Edition. Light blocks here will get replaced by placing a block in its place, can be moved by pistons, and produce particles when broken. Even the item textures look vastly different between the two editions. Fire protection is way more overpowered in Bedrock Edition than in Java. In Bedrock, if you have at least 7 levels of fire resistance, you won't catch on fire. You'll still take some damage when directly in contact with the fire or lava, but you won't stay on fire when you come out. If you place a snow layer on top of a leaf in Bedrock Edition, small snowflake particles will actually drop, similar to how blocks make water and lava drip through. This only happens when the snow is placed on top of leaves, and you won't see any particles come through if you put them on blocks like glass or cobblestone. This is insane! So you may know that you can use bone meal to spread nylium to other netherrack blocks, but did you know there's a way to convert the nylium back into netherrack? If you place a snow layer on top of a nylium block, the nylium will actually decay and turn into a regular netherrack block. In Java Edition, if your bed is surrounded by blocks like so, your respawn point will be considered obstructed. When you die, you'll respawn at the world spawn point instead of at your bed. In contrast, Bedrock Edition is much more lenient. Even if you cover your bed with a large number of blocks, you'll still respawn at or near it. You can place your bed deep underground, and the game will still find the nearest open space for you to spawn. It almost feels like magic! Iron bars are different between Java and Bedrock editions. In Bedrock, the iron bars have a symmetric look to them, while in Java, iron bars look more random. I honestly prefer the more random look because the symmetric iron bars in Bedrock Edition can feel repetitive. I thought this glitch was patched! In Java Edition, if you start mining a block and then switch tools midway, the mining progress will reset. However, in Bedrock Edition, you can start mining with one tool, switch to another midway, and the mining progress will continue. This glitch lets you mine most of the block with your better tool, then quickly switch to a weaker tool just before the block breaks, saving the durability of your better tool. This is what it looks like in Java Edition, and this is what it looks like in Bedrock Edition. As you can see, the wall item in Bedrock is actually 2 walls placed next to each other. Although it's technically less accurate, I think it looks better. A tiny detail that 99% of players overlook is how double blocks like doors or beds are outlined. In Java Edition, only the part of the block your cursor is hovering over will be outlined. In contrast, Bedrock Edition outlines the entire double block as one connected shape. Which style do you prefer? In Bedrock Edition, redstone comparators and repeaters can be placed on walls and fences. This is pretty cool, but not practical because you can't place redstone dust on them, unfortunately. In Java, if you activate a lever directly attached to a piston, the lever will actually break. On the other hand, in Bedrock, levers and buttons can be placed on pistons without being destroyed when activated. The conduit in Bedrock Edition looks so much better. The Bedrock conduit has rune-like particles appear around it. I love them a lot, but in Java, the powered conduit particles just seem like boring water particles. When you pull a crossbow back in Bedrock Edition, you can physically see the arm pull the crossbow back. But in Java, the crossbow animation is slightly different, and you just see the arrow get pulled without the player's hand being visible. The scaffolding item texture looks slightly different between the two versions. The Bedrock scaffold is the bottom part connected. In Java Edition, you dye leather armor by combining the armor and dye in a crafting table. However, this method doesn't work in Bedrock Edition. In fact, the crafting recipe to dye leather armor and a crafting table doesn't exist at all in Bedrock. Instead, you need to add dye to a cauldron, then dip the armor into the cauldron to apply the color. Did you know huge mushrooms could generate naturally in swamps? Well, kinda. Because this is only possible in the Bedrock Edition. I swear, I always thought these mushrooms generated in swamps in both versions, but apparently not. If you go underwater in both Java and Bedrock Edition, you'll see that the underwater brightness is much brighter in Bedrock Edition. The petrified oak slab looks like a regular wooden slab, but requires a pickaxe to mine. In older versions of Bedrock Edition, updating your world would convert old wooden slabs into petrified oak slabs. However, if you break one today, it will drop a normal oak slab instead. So if you still have one, don't break it! It's rare! In Bedrock Edition's inventory, if you select an item, it'll actually enlarge it so that you can easily tell what item you're selecting. In Java Edition, the item will stay the same size. You stink! Drip leaves behave differently in Java and Bedrock Editions. If the player is standing inside a big drip leaf when it is fully tilted, and the drip leaf returns to the untilted position, the player is left crawling underneath the leaf. However, in Bedrock Edition, this behavior is different. The player briefly enters a crawling position, but is quickly forced back to standing. In Java Edition, the bottom layer of the world is a single solid layer of bedrock. However, in Bedrock Edition, there are 2 solid layers of bedrock. It's ironic that bedrock is actually thicker in Bedrock Edition! Okay, maybe not that funny. I'm just gonna leave. If an axolotl is struck by lightning in Bedrock Edition, it'll instantly die. There's no chance of saving it. If an axolotl is struck by lightning in Java Edition, though, it'll be alive for a few more seconds, and you can save it if you're quick enough with a water bucket. You're saved! Now time to feed you to my sword! If you use a spyglass and then move your camera super quickly in Bedrock Edition, you'll see that the spyglass doesn't correctly follow along with the rest of your body. On the other hand, in Java, the arm and spyglass correctly animate even when you move super quickly. If you name tag a slime in Java Edition and then kill it, the name will actually be split to all the smaller slimes. But if you try the same thing in Bedrock, you'll be disappointed and find that killing the named slime will result in smaller slimes without any names. In Java, the player holds items so they're parallel with the ground, but in Bedrock, holding an item will be slightly angled. I like the Bedrock design better. In Bedrock Edition, skeleton and zombie horses are attacked by the conduit. These horses may seem like hostile creatures, but they're actually passive mobs that the player can even get on. So it doesn't make too sense for the conduit to be attacking them. When you ride a horse in Java Edition, your hunger bar gets replaced with the horse's health, and your XP bar becomes the horse's jump bar. This is quite annoying because it hides useful information. Luckily, in Bedrock Edition, the player's health and hunger bar are both displayed, and the player's experience bar is replaced by the horse's jump bar only when the jump control is activated. This is what a bubble column looks like in Java, and this is what it looks like in Bedrock. The bubble column in Java Edition blends more in with the water. However, in Bedrock, the bubble column feels like an actual block that's not water. In the past, there were even glitches to get the bubble column item.
Listen to the sound.
In Bedrock Edition, hearts move down when having regeneration, while in Java, the hearts move up. It definitely makes more sense for the hearts to move up. Lightning rods in Bedrock Edition are so much better. In Bedrock, lightning rods have a radius of 128 blocks instead of 64. Only in Bedrock Edition, selecting an enchanted item in your hotbar will show all enchantments below it. This way you can easily see all your enchantments without having to open your inventory. So in first person, when you switch to an enchanted item, it'll show it. Glowing signs work differently in Java and Bedrock. In Java, the colors are brighter but not accurate to the palette, while in Bedrock, the text outlines are too dark. So both editions have their trade-offs with glowing signs. In Bedrock Edition, books display 2 pages at once, which might not seem important, but it actually affects redstone mechanics. A comparator can detect which page of a book you're on. But since Bedrock shows 2 pages at a time, you'll need twice as many pages to achieve the same signal strength as in Java Edition. In Java, if you slash kill the Ender Dragon, it will instantly disappear, and the portal to the overworld will activate. But trying the same thing in Bedrock Edition has a slightly different result. When you slash kill the dragon in Bedrock, the dragon actually finishes its dying animation, and then the portal to the overworld will get activated. When you spawn a wandering trader in Bedrock Edition, it'll spawn with 2 llamas, even when spawned using a spawn egg. In Java, you can spawn the wandering trader in without it holding onto llamas. Bedrock Edition is censored! In Bedrock, any offensive word you type gets censored. It happens in everything from writing on signs, renaming items in an anvil, or writing in a book and quill. No bad words are allowed on Bedrock. In Java Edition, renaming a mob while it's in a bucket will also rename the mob when you place it. However, this feature is actually only in Java.
We'll be ending the video very soon. At 1,000.
Once you place down the renamed bucket of axolotl, the name tag won't apply to the axolotl, and your bucket name will be reset. I just got scammed! If you fly into water while wearing an elytra in Java Edition, your elytra will still be equipped, and you'll be in a weird hybrid between swimming and flying. You can even dive into the water and hold spacebar to make it look like you're walking upside down in the water. But if you try the same in Bedrock, the elytra just gets deactivated as soon as you enter water. Lily pads are slightly thicker
30.
in Bedrock Edition compared to the completely flat ones in Java. If you try to place blocks below the void in Bedrock Edition, you'll get a warning message. In Java Edition, attempting the same simply won't let you place the blocks, but no message will appear. If you punch a pufferfish in Java Edition, the pufferfish won't inflate. The Java pufferfish only inflates when you get near it. In contrast, in Bedrock, punching will cause the pufferfish to puff up. Haha, it's like a piñata!
Go, 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 go,
In
go,
Java,
go,
if you place a block and
go.
break a block underwater, then
Bye-bye.
the stand won't move. However, trying the same thing in Bedrock
Eight,
Edition will
now.
cause the armor stand to get
8.
pulled towards the water as it